Hello everybody, this is Mike History 2 and welcome to another video about the top 10 worst people in history. So we're doing number 7 and today we'll be talking about Timur. So some of you might have heard of Timur, but most of you probably don't know that much about him. Timur was born near Kesh in the Chagatai Khanate, now Shahrisabz, in Uzbekistan on April 9, 1336, the son of Taragai and his wife. At the age of 8 or 9, Timur and his mother and brothers were carried as prisoners to Samarkand by an invading army. In his childhood, Timur and a small band of followers raided travelers for goods, especially animals such as sheep, horses, and cattle. Around 1363, it is believed that Timur tried to steal a sheep from a shepherd, but was shot by 2 arrows, one in his right leg and another in his right hand, where he lost 2 fingers. Both injuries crippled him for life. Some believe that Timur suffered his crippling injuries while serving as a mercenary to the Khan of Sistan. Timur's injuries had given him the names of Timur the Lame and Tamerlane by Europeans. Around 1360, he gained prominence as a military leader whose troops were mostly Turkic tribesmen of the region. He took part in campaigns in Transoxiana with the Khan of the Chagatai Khanate. He was allied both in cause and by family connection with Amir Kazagan, who basically controlled the Chagatai Khanate, and he invaded Khorasan at the head of 1,000 horsemen. This was the second military expedition that he led, and his success led to further operations, among them the subjugation of Khorasan and Urgench. Following Amir Kazagan's murders, disputes arose among the many claimants to the Chagatai Khanate's throne as it collapsed. Tughluq Timur, the Mughal Khan, invaded, interrupting this infighting. Timur was sent to negotiate with the invader, but joined him instead and was rewarded with Transoxiana. Maybe Timur was actually Italian. At about this time, his father died, and Timur also became chief of the Birlas. Tughluq then attempted to set his son Ilyas Khoja over Transoxiana, but Timur repelled this invasion with a small force. It was in this period that Timur reduced the Chagatai Khans to the positions of figureheads while he ruled in their name. He basically destroyed the Chagatai Khanate since it was divided into several new countries. Also during this period, Timur and his brother-in-law Amir Hussein, who at first fellow fugitives and wanderers and joint adventures, became rivals and enemies. The relationships between them began to become bad after Hussein abandoned efforts to follow Timur's orders to finish off Ilya Khoja. Timur began to gain a following of people in bulk, consisting of merchants, fellow tribesmen, Muslim clergy, aristocracy, and agricultural workers, because of his kindness in sharing his belongings with them. This contrasted Timur's behavior with that of Hussein, who alienated these people, took many possessions from them via his heavy tax laws, and selfishly spent the tax money building elaborate structures. Around 1370, Hussein surrendered to Timur and was later assassinated, which allowed Timur to create the Timurid Empire and proclaim himself as its emperor in bulk. He married Hussein's wife, Sarai Mulk Khanum. He spent the next 35 years in various wars and expeditions, and he not only consolidated his rule at home by the subjugation of his enemies, but expanded the Timurid Empire by invading other countries. One of his most formidable enemies was Toktamish. After having been a refugee in Timur's court, Toktamish became ruler both of the Blue Horde and the Golden Horde. After his accession, he quarreled with Timur over the possession of Khwarezm and Azerbaijan. However, Timur still supported him against the Muscovites, and in 1382, Toktamish invaded Moscow and burned it. In 1395, Timur reached the border of Ryazan, took Elets, and advancing towards Moscow came near the banks of the Don River. Vasily I of Moscow, Grand Prince of Moscow, went with an army to Kolomna and stopped at the banks of the Oka River. The clergy brought the famed Theotokos of Vladimir icon from Vladimir to Moscow. Along the way, people prayed kneeling, "O Mother of God, save the land of Russia." Suddenly, Timur's armies retreated. In memory of this miraculous deliverance of the Russian land from Timur on August 26th, the celebration in honor of the meeting of the Vladimir icon of the Most Holy Mother of God was established in Russia. After the death of Abu Sayyid Bahadur Khan, Khan of the Ilkhanate in 1335, there was a power vacuum in Persia. In the end, Persia was split amongst the Muzaffarid kingdom, the Kartid kingdom, the Aratnid Sultanate, the Chobanid kingdom, the Injuid kingdom, the Jalayirid Sultanate, and the Sarbadar kingdom. In 1383, Timur started his long conquest of Persia, though he already ruled over much of Persian Khorasan by 1831. After Khwaja Masud, the Sarbadar king surrendered. Timur began his Persian campaign with Herat, capital of the Kartid kingdom. When Herat didn't surrender, he reduced the city to ashes and massacred most of its citizens, and it remained in ruins until Shah Rukh, a later Timurid emperor, ordered its reconstruction. Timur then sent a general to capture rebellious Kandahar. With the capture of Herat, the Kartid kingdom surrendered and became vassals of Timur, and later would be annexed less than a decade later in 1389 by Timur's son Miran Shah. Timur then headed west to capture the Zagros Mountains, passing through Mazandaran. During his travel through the north of Persia, he captured the town of Tehran, which surrendered and was thus treated mercifully. He laid siege to Sultaniya in 1384, and Khorasan revolted 1 year later, so Timur destroyed Isfizar and the prisoners were cemented into the walls alive. The next year, the kingdom of Sistan was ravaged and his capital at Zaranj was destroyed. Yeah, have you noticed Timur likes to destroy cities? Then he returned to his capital of Samarkand, where he began planning for his Georgian campaign and an invasion of the Golden Horde. In 1386, Timur passed through Mazandaran. He went near the city of Sultaniye, which he had previously captured, but instead turned north and captured Tabriz with little resistance, along with Moraga. He ordered heavy taxation of the people, which was collected by Adil Aka, who was also given control over Sultaniye. Adil was later executed because Timur suspected him of being corrupt. Timur then went north to begin his Georgian and Golden Horde campaigns, pausing his full-scale invasion of Persia. When he returned, he found his generals had done well in protecting the cities and lands he'd conquered in Persia. Though many rebelled, and his son Miran Shah, who may have been the regent, was forced to annex these rebellious vassals, his land remained and nobody became independent. He proceeded to capture the rest of Persia, specifically the two major southern cities of Isfahan and Shiraz. When he arrived with his army at Isfahan in 1387, the city immediately surrendered, and he treated it with relative mercy as he normally did with the cities that surrendered. However, after Isfahan revolted against Timur's taxes by killing the tax collectors and some of Timur's soldiers, well, you guessed it, he ordered the massacre of everyone in the city, and between 100 and 200,000 people died during this massacre. An eyewitness counted more than 28 towers constructed of 1,500 heads each, and his massacres were selective because he spared the artistic and educated. So you see, it wasn't that bad. I mean, he did spare artists. Then Timur began a 5-year campaign to the west in 1392, attacking Persian Kurdistan. In 1393, Shiraz was captured after surrendering, and the Muzaffarid kingdom became a vassal of the Timurid Empire, although Prince Shah Mansur rebelled but was defeated, and the Muzaffarid kingdom was annexed. Shortly after, Georgia was so devastated that the Golden Horde could not use it to threaten northern Iran. In the same year, Timur caught Baghdad by surprise in August by marching there in only 8 days from Shiraz. Ahmad Jalayir, the Jalayirid Sultan, fled to Syria, where the Sultan of Egypt, Barkuk, protected him and killed Timur's envoys. Timur left the Sarbadar king, Khwaja Masud, to govern Baghdad, but he was driven out when Ahmad Jalayir returned. Ahmad was unpopular, but got some dangerous help from Kara Yusuf, Sultan of the Karakoyunlu, and he fled again in 1399, this time to the Ottoman Sultanate. In the meantime, Toktamish turned against his patron, and in 1385 invaded Azerbaijan. Of course, Timur responded, and the Toktamish-Timur War began. In the beginning of the war, Timur won a victory at the Battle of the Kundurcha River. After this battle, Toktamish and some of his army were allowed to escape. After this defeat, Timur invaded Moscow to the north of the Golden Horde. He burned Ryazan and advanced on Moscow. He was pulled away before reaching the Oka River by Toktamish's renewed campaign in the south. In the first phase of the war with Toktamish, Timur led an army of over 100,000 men north for more than 700 miles into the steppe. He then rode west about 1,000 miles, advancing in a front more than 10 miles wide. During this advance, Timur's army got far enough north to be in a region of very long summer days, which caused complaints by his Muslim soldiers about keeping a long schedule of prayers. It was then that Toktamish's army was boxed in against the east bank of the Volga River in the Orenburg region and destroyed at the Battle of the Kundurcha River in 1391. In the second phase of the war, Timur took a different route against the enemy by invading the Golden Horde via the Caucasus. In 1395, Timur defeated Toktamish in the Battle of the Terek River. ending the struggle between the two monarchs. Toktamish was unable to restore his power and prestige, and he was killed about a decade later in the area of present-day Tumen. During the course of Timur's campaigns, his army destroyed Sarai, the capital of the Golden Horde, and Astrakhan, subsequently disrupting the Golden Horde's Silk Road. The Golden Horde no longer held any power after its defeat by Timur.